Ta-da! What is happening out there, my friends in YouTube land? Yours truly, Rockin' Dave, the real deal, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. Hope that is not too loud. When I always set this phone, the camera up, on this tripod, somehow when I'm doing the test run, it's working, but then when I actually hit record, it's because this is a different phone from my other phone. My other phone I could do split screen. This one I can't. I gotta download apps. And I'm not doing that. I had issues. This is why I had to get this phone. It is a Motorola. And of course there's no model numbers. Go figure. Not a bad phone though. So I want to welcome everybody. I am a little late here because you know how it is when you're doing to get on YouTube Live. There is a series of questions that they ask, and I don't have a problem with that because they got to protect everybody. But it's different than when the last time I was able to go live on my phone. So I think we had Old Man Dan. We'll wait a little bit for Old Man Dan. Dante, what's happening? Buckluster, what is happening? Really appreciate it, guys. Now I know there's some people that can't tune in around this time. I didn't know if I was going to be able to go live, what my time frame was going to be. So I figured, well, we'll go ahead and record it, go ahead and go live, and I'll leave the stream up in case people need to watch it later, Now, here, I'm just looping a basic rhythm. I might just save that, and then if we go over it again into my loop pad, I'll save it, then wherever glitches, or if there's something I want to add to it, then I can always erase it, and then, go over it again. So I hope everybody is well out there. Old Man Dan, I was checking out some of your videos. I don't know if I put a comment in. I didn't have enough time because I was at the store, and you know what's going on at the stores. You gotta stand in line. I took a picture. With my tape measure 6 feet away. I sent it to my wife. She started laughing. She thought it was funny. I got my Luxor cup, my Joe Wentz project. I gotta wash my cup because that cup I used earlier, so I didn't get enough time to wash it for live broadcast. But I like that bike ride you did, Dante, Old Man Dan. That was really, really cool. Again, our last time in Colorado was July. Jimmy Biter, what's happening, brother? Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it, man. Last time we were in Colorado was the same month in the same year that we relocated down here to Florida. And we did this gig at Estes Park, Colorado. They got that, there's a hotel that's up there. Beautiful. It was awesome. And then after that, the end of that month, for July, we came down here to Florida. And we haven't done any out-of-state gigs since then. But we were doing a lot of them. We were doing a ton of them. So, but yeah, that is the drum pattern, the bass pattern is coming right from the Digitech. And I know I've said this before. Some people they don't they'll think I'm using an octave. Well, I guess it is an octave divider. It's like a sub octave. Now it does have an EQ, and I guess I can get into the EQ, and it does have the amp sim, so I could, pick and choose an amp. I don't know how close I could get into the slapping. I just have to brighten up and then actually just, oh, happens when you turn your volume down. So I have to tune up the EQ. Dwight Bailey, what is happening, man? You guys are rocking out on Metalhead Hippies on his music montage. That's really cool, man. And it's really cool that he's doing that. And they got people that are, he encourages people to put up originals. And I understand sometimes you can't, It was good times, right, Dave? Old man Dan, thanks. Yeah, it was good times. That was really cool on that bike. That bike ride you did, that was badass, man. And of course, your playing is awesome. You have a very, very musical way of playing. Very musical. Actually, everybody out there, what's really cool, guys, is that a lot of you have a very melodic sense of playing. You're making music. The thing with shredding is it's just building up that technique. But if you can't make it sound musical, it's gonna sound like a bunch of notes coming out of a theory book. It really will, and it just, it's not too musical. When you listen to it. I mean, there are times I played something and I listened to the playback, and I'm like, I don't think I like that, and it's me playing it, So we're our own worst critics, So yeah, you do. You have to make things sound musical. So I'm gonna just wait before I get into some of the subjects for more people to come in. People want to say hi. If anyone's got any questions, yeah, go right ahead. And yeah. But yeah, Dwight Bailey, man, that's really cool. Everyone is making the best of this lockdown, and I agree with you, old man Dan. Yep, I agree with you. I try to stay away from all the politics because then then these people say you did this, you said that. I'm a guitar player, but you know what? Everyone is entitled to have and speak their piece and speak their mind. And yep, those are American flags still hanging up there. You know what I mean? But let's see. I got this blue arrow saying there's more messages. Oh, it says go down. See, I don't want to. Let's see if I touch something. Yeah, you know how it is with these screens, man. It's just. Hey George, what is happening? Thank you for tuning in, man. Oh, there's more. It says there are more. Yeah, I think okay. Yeah, just jamming and having fun. Dwight, that's what it's all about. That is what it is all about. And people could sense that. The video I put up, well, yesterday's video, I was just doing some classical guitar pieces, and I was actually improvising around a Matteo Cacarsi piece. You know what? I played a lot of these classical guitar pieces, but I am so bad with pronouncing names, man. It's unbelievable. Michael B., what is happening? Working and listening. Hey, Michael, what is happening? If you can, I want to see if you could put up, even in your rehearsal, some videos, because you guys rock, Michael. You guys definitely rock. So, okay. So I had this question asked me. His name is one of our subscribers. And by the way, I thank all you guys, all my subscribers. Thank you guys so much. You guys totally rock. This is so cool, really, really is. And Matthew Lamoth, if I'm pronouncing his last name right. Matthew, he's a great guitar player, and he also does lessons on YouTube. Gives you tidbits, if you want to call it that. But he does get into, some lessons and that. And I'm sure on his website you can sign up for lessons. So, yeah, let's see. Michael B's hoping we start rehearsing again soon. Yeah, no, you're welcome, Michael B. You guys do sound great, man. It's just this whole thing has just got everything else big time. Like for instance, Saturday we were scheduled to play here at our clubhouse, and we have a stage set up, but because of what's been going on, they decided they don't know if they want to open up. I saw a sign when I was on my bike ride earlier today that they are going to open up the swimming pool, but it's going to be 2 hour increments. We got two swimming pools, 2 hour increments, and they're only allowing 9 people in at a time. So, but you go to Walmart, you go to Target, you go to Home Depot, and even though they're 6 feet away from each other, you know, they're letting all these people in. So I don't get it, you know. Anyways, so Matthew Lamothe, his last name is spelled Lamothe. See, I told you I got a hard time pronouncing people's names. It's probably real simple. But he did ask a question, or actually he left in one of the comments. Have I ever thought about doing a video, trying to talk a little bit about our history, my background? And I think Deb and I have done that maybe about a couple years ago when we were both talking about our experiences and that. But this one is a little bit more on basically my background, and like a lot of you guys, I started playing guitar. I'm not going to bore people with my me story or anything like that, because you all have experiences, that are worth sharing. And let's see. Yeah, I avoid talking about things. Yeah. Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean, old man Dan. Yep. I've seen one of the live chats and that, and I agree. You just had to say bye, and I understand totally. So basically, when I started playing guitar, I was 11 years old. It was 1974, and I actually learned in grade school. And it was on a nylon string guitar, and we had a little, yeah, at least open to, yeah, I hear you, old man Dan. Yep, I hear you, brother. So it was in a group setting, and God, I can't even remember what grade. I know it was grade school. We didn't have middle school in Chicago, at least in the area where I lived. You went to grade school and high school, and that's what it was. That's it. Anyways, I remember there was an electric guitar. Hold on, I'm getting a little bit of noise here. But it was a bass guitar, and I'm just kidding. I didn't understand. But it was electric. So I figured, I want to play that. So you had a bunch of steel string acoustics, and you had a couple of nylon string acoustics. And in our class, there was another kid by the name of David. I think his name was David Brown. And mine's David Byron. Okay. So the teacher says, all right, David, you're going to play bass. I'm like, yes. No, not you, him. Oh. So by the time everybody picked an instrument, I got stuck with the nylon string guitar. And basically, this is what they would show us. They would show us, just your basic chords. This is exactly how things was. This is what it was, You learn your D major chord, you learn your C major chord, you learn your A, you learn your G, you learn your E, and of course the F was always the main. And I can't remember the songs. They were a little like kind of hokey songs. And this is how long ago it was. Does anybody remember the Ditto machine? It would roll. That's how you make copies. It had that blue ink, and everyone would be smelling the page because you could smell the ink. Well, that's how long that was. How long ago that was. And so our first concert, you could say, was in 1974 for assembly, for Christmas. And there's a group of us, and we're playing and we're having fun. And that's why I've said in previous videos, I'm like just a kid playing. And it was like 300 people sitting in the audience. And they're looking at us, smiling. I don't know, we're smiling. Everyone's having a good time. So at that age, your mind is not, you're having fun. You see people smiling with you. They're having fun. You're having fun. It's not like, oh, cool, I'm going to shred and I'm going to really, get. It's not about that. It was never really about that. And I think that's never left me as the years, went on. Now, prior to that, I do have memories. We lived in this apartment, and we had a little courtyard area, and this was 1969. I was just a little kid, and I remember, all the hippies, they get together and they, have little jam sessions. They drop down an extension cord from the second floor window down, and everyone looked like the Griswold Christmas. Everyone's plugged into one big knot. There was no surge protectors or anything like that. So I mean, that was kind of like my first experience of seeing all that, and I was like, ooh, that's cool. But so after that, my dad got me my first electric guitar, which was called a Checkmate. It was like a Tedesco guitar, Tedesco Del Rey. It was a real cheap pawn shop guitar, and we bought it at the pawn shop, literally. And a little amplifier was, if anyone remembers these days, the little amplifiers, the cabinets were this wide, with the big, strap, you pick it up. So it's that wide. It was like this big. It had an open back. The speaker was maybe this big. So think about it. You got a big cabinet like that that's this wide with a little speaker, and you had one knob that clicked, and that was it. That's your sound. But you're young, you don't know. So I messed around with that, and then my dad, we went to Chicago Music Company. Not Chicago Music Exchange, but Chicago Music Company on Lincoln Avenue, just around the corner from Addison. And he helped me with my first decent electric guitar. So my first electric guitar was a Checkmate. Then he helped me buy a Magnum Les Paul copy, the neck bolt on, and it was a black Les Paul custom, cheap. But I didn't know any better, And the case I had, it was remember those real cheap cases? So the guitar would rattle around in there, and I think I had that guitar all the way up through junior in high school, and then the next guitar, my really first good guitar, was a 1978 Ibanez Artist with the tri-sound switches and the Super 88 pickups and all that. But I put that guitar on layaway, and I remember it was like murder paying that thing off. And my first amplifier was a crate amplifier, and it was shaped like crate boxes. So by that time, actually, with the Les Paul, I get together with people in the neighborhood, and we try to put bands together. And of course, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. And a couple of guys at Chicago Music Company would help me out, and they'd show me things. There was a jazz guitarist over here. Now that I remember, his name was Bill Putney, and he was a fantastic guitarist. And I don't know, he would show me things, and I'd ask him, hey, could you show me how to play Ted Nugent? A little bit. But he knew where I was coming from, because he knew I was able to just, I don't know, maybe I just had the ability, and you don't realize it. Yep, by SLM. Yep, that was it. It was like a crate box. It was called the Crate 1R. I think it was 40 watts, 112-inch speaker. The R stood for reverb, but the reverb didn't work, and I had no idea what the hell it was, Volume, bass, middle, treble, reverb. And my first pedal was an Ibanez Tube Screamer, a TS-808 that I bought for $35, brand new. They just came out. And it was the little narrow one. So when there was a guy that did he had a video on vintage Ibanez pedals. And I said something in the comments. I said the one I had was just like the reissue, except it was narrow. And you had to unscrew the bottom plate to change the battery. And he asked me, and I told him how much I paid for it. He says, do you still have it? I said, no, man, I lost it when I moved long time ago. I said, but it was in pretty good condition. He says, man, that thing's worth like $3,000, because it's like one of the first runs of it. What the hell? I paid $35 for it. How could it be worth $3,000? But that's how things work. But the different bands where you get together with friends in high school, and you try things out, and of course you fail miserably because you're young. It's not like today. Today, if these kids that we see today, and some of them really have a natural ability, but I really think without YouTube, if we were to bring them back to those times, they might not be at those levels right now. They would have to go through the 80s to see it, for it to be exposed, because it was not exposed. You had a lot of flamenco guitar players and the jazz fusion, but it wasn't really played on the radio, and especially AM radio, you know, because that's what we grew up on. So, what was popular was, Aerosmith, Deep Purple, of course, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, and Ted Nugent, and they were all really great guitar players, but they were not like the shredders. The first time I heard someone playing very fast, and I mean very fast and clean, was in the summer of 1981 when my friend showed me a recording of Al Di Meola playing with. He had two albums. He had Return to Forever's Romantic Warrior, and then Al Di Meola's his solo album, Elegant Gypsy. And I heard them back to back, and I was blown away. I was very impressed with Eddie Van Halen, don't get me wrong, because that came out when I was in high school. You know what I mean? So Eruption was, my crate, I put a cherry bomb. Yeah. They literally were crate boxes. I kind of wish they'd come back to that as, nostalgic, A friend of mine who had a recording studio back in Montgomery, Illinois, he had, I can't remember what model he had, but he had one. It was like the crate box. And man, I said, hey, I'll give you a couple bucks for that. But I didn't. Yup, cherry bomb stickers on the side. But it's like a lot of you out there, you go through these things, you experiment, and that's basically what it is. And honestly, it's the best way to learn. So when I was in high school, my second pedal was a Crybaby wah pedal. And people think, what the hell is so special about a Crybaby wah? Mine I bought was from a friend of mine, and he bought it from his teacher. And let's see, that was, I don't know, junior in high, 79, 78, 1978, 1980. And he got it from his teacher, and on the bottom it says Crybaby from Thomas International, Chicago, Illinois. Because see, the Thomas International company would make pedals for the organs, so they were making the wah pedals, the Crybabies, and then whatever happened, Jim Dunlop bought things out. Same with MXR. The best of my knowledge, I have never known back when I had my MXR Phase 90. It didn't say Jim Dunlop on, and nowhere on it. It was MXR. And I remember when MXR was going out of business, and they started making these really cheap versions of their pedals, and you'd step on them and they'd fall apart, man. I mean, they were made of plastic, and it'd pop and snap, and like the Big Muff. I had the very, I wouldn't say the very first Big Muff, but I had that generation, late 70s Big Muff PI, and then the Rat, Proco Rat, was a little bit bigger box, and nothing sounded right. So I went from the crate, then from that I went to, I think that's when I got my Lab Series L5. I used my friends in high school, and he let me, borrow it, had it at the house, and was messing around with it. And then after the Lab Series, I think, was when I got my Marshall Plexi. It was the Marshall Super Lead 100, but it was a Plexi in a 212. Yeah, the BB King amp. Yep. Hey, Electric Gypsy Blues, what's happening, man? Hey, there's a Chicago bluesman right there, man. I'm glad you're still down there in the neighborhood, man. And yeah. And how about it, Electric Gypsy Blues? When I see people teaching blues on YouTube, they're right with the pentatonics. All of that, I'm not knocking anybody. But what I can't understand is they're going to talk blues. And again, it's not to discredit them. So I'm not trying to do that. But I really, really wish they would say, look, you got to listen to the style of music. And the only way you listen to it is start looking up on YouTube. Look up the history of blues. You'll see it where it's Mississippi Delta and, Texas blues, Chicago. This was always this was the kind of like battle I don't want to say, but that's kind of like a battle between the Chicago Blues and the Texas Blues. And even Buddy Guy had said, for a while we almost lost the Blues to Texas, but then Muddy Waters and Junior Wells and of course Buddy Guy. Buddy Guy is like one of the last living blues legends. He's like one of them, but I want to say he's kind of like the top guy. And I think Electric Gypsy, you had mentioned, I think it was you, about the Kinsey report. And one of my last live chats, I mentioned about when Deb and I was at Beale Street, and it was actually in Palatine, Illinois. That's west of Mount Prospect. It used to be called Chances Are, then it became B.B. King's Beale Street. And Deb and I went out on a date before we got married, and we're sitting there, and I knew of the Kinsey report, but I did not know that Deb ran sound for Kinsey. Yes. And yes. Well, thank you so much, Electric Gypsy. And it was not the bass player. It was, because I'm watching the videos now. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. It was Donald Kinsey that came up because he played guitar and song. But I thought he played bass because it was just so long ago. But I do remember it was Donald Kinsey. Man, we're sitting right there, and they're finished up the song, and he looks right at Deb and smiles and goes like that. And then when they were done, he came down, and he goes, oh, how you doing? How you been? Blah, 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 So, because Deb would always try to give everyone a good sound, Yeah, Kenny plays bass. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Now, I have to look it up. I do know Ron, I think his name Ron Price, was one of the guitarists. But I could be wrong because, we know how when years pass by and you just, everything's like a blur because you're doing all these jam sessions. You're trying to be like a sponge and soak everything up. Rick Hefner, what's happening? But I'm almost positive if Lefty Diz did not play with the Kinsey report, I definitely remember Lefty Diz because he grabbed his guitar, he was left-handed, and he'd pick up and just like go like this with it and let it slide up and down and all that. And then Sun Seals Blues Band, Coco Taylor, Little Ed and the Blues Imperials, Eddie the Chief Clearwater, and then of course the blues guys that you've been seeing too, that you've been doing, because this newer generations. Joanne Connors, she still plays, and then there's this young girl, Magic Slim. Yep, absolutely, brother, absolutely, Magic Slim. There's this young girl, I just, how it is when you're on YouTube and one video pops up in the feed and another video pops up. Her name is Allie Vandenberg, or Allie, okay, I should have wrote her name down. Vanderbilt. Or maybe it's not that. But her first name's Allie. And, hey, Dale Palmer, what's happening, man? Yes, you got it, Electric Gypsy, you got it. And she's a young gal. She might be like 20 years old now, but those videos she popped up. I watched the one video, it was about a year ago, and she's in New York, and she's into like a radio, like an underground radio TV, or like a cable show that would have live music. And she did like 4 songs, and this was in New York, and then after that she's gonna go down and do a gig in one of the clubs in New York. And she said, these are all songs from my CD. So the guy asked her, so yeah, you do my covers? And yeah, but we do mostly originals. And she's heavily influenced by Stevie Ray Vaughan, because she said when she was even younger and started playing guitar, and she was into Pink and all that, and she still likes that stuff. But she said when her and her dad were driving home one day, and her dad had a CD of Stevie Ray Vaughan playing, and she says, wow, I didn't know someone could play like that, and how she was just mesmerized. So, she soaked up all that. So it's really good. Oh, no problem. Yeah, Dana Everhart, no problem, brother. I'll leave it up on the playlist, I'll leave it up. But she makes these comments, and she's like into it. She's just into it. And when I see these young kids, whether it's a young girl or a young boy, and they're just into it, you know how inspiring that is? Because you see, they have the hunger for it. And it's all about the creativity. And no matter what, They don't have life experiences like we do because, we're older, but they have the hunger. And I tell friends of mine, I said, look, when you watch these kids play, always give them that respect because you see, that is a reflection of what we used to be. And there's something, that element of that hunger, that drive, and when you don't let go of that drive, and maybe you got to have day jobs and you got to do this and you got to do that, but you're able to hang on to it. And through whatever it is you have to do, you manage to still go out and play. And what's really nice with this platform is that you don't have to leave your home, and man, you could just buy gear that you could afford, that's within your budget, that you like, post up videos, and boom, it's the whole world sees it. It ain't like it used to be. So a lot of us, we had to struggle through all these different bands, and the garage bands. I don't know how many of those I've been in, and I'd always bring my boombox and record and try to archive everything, and use it as a learning curve to help grow. And when I got into this top 40 band, we were gigging. This was back in 1987. We were gigging like 5 to 6 nights a week, 5 to 6 sets a night, depending on the club. Some clubs we were there 4 nights, and we'd get there the first day, and we would leave our gear there, and then just go to the club and play. If it was after work or I was making enough money. I was able to quit my day job, but I think a lot of it became out of necessity because I was literally, man, getting like 2 to 3 hours sleep a night. And I worked downtown Chicago at a place where we were manufacturing custom mini blinds and vertical blinds, and we're working these aluminum table saws and that. And my boss, he let me have my headphones on as long as I had them on the side and it didn't cover my ears. I was able to hear him when he called me. And then when things were going good with the band, I let him know, and he said he was sorry to see me leave, but he understood, And of course, I was young. So you do things when you're young, and you gain all that experience. And that's exactly what it is. It's experience, And there's really no regrets with that, because that's how you're going to learn. Because if a person thinks that between point A and point B, C, and D, they're not going to make any mistakes, or they're not going to go through things, that's not reality. But you see, that's what's going to help you grow and learn. You have to go through those things. You have to, you have to make mistakes. And one of the songs that I think is one of the best lines is in Aerosmith's "Dream On." You have to lose to know how to win. That is a very strong statement, because you really do. So I would play in metal bands during the day, and at nighttime I'm playing, Kool and the Gang, Fresh, and all this stuff. And then we're playing at the Holiday Star Theater in the Holodome. And at that time, that band Cameo was real big with the song Word Up. We're playing poolside, and these guys are watching us. And I remember we'd take a break, and me and the bass player would wander around through the hallways, because the way this place was set up, it was a resort, so they had a comedy club over here, and then they had all these little hallways. Well, we're going down the hallway, and for whatever reason, I had my guitar with me, or maybe, whatever it was. I think I had my guitar with me, and the guitar. There was a guy saying, "Man, you got some killer chops there." And I looked and said, "But I appreciate it, thank you." And I asked him if he played. He says, "Yeah, I'm playing with Cameo." I'm like, "Wow, that's cool." So we got a chance to meet the guys in the hotel room, but we didn't stay or anything. But I know the bass player, who's a little bit nervous, And I said, "No, man, don't worry about it, man. They're just, what are they gonna do? Tell us get the hell out of here? So what, right?" And I started, you get starstruck. We all do, and you want to meet the people who you either want to meet your guitar heroes, or you see people that you recognize that are like miles up above you, and you kind of want to hang out with them, and because you want to learn and all that. And that was another method of my learning, besides hanging out with my best friends Andy and Angel when I met those guys. And that was in the summer of '81. Man, we used to practice and drill exercises with our metronomes, and that's how I was able to break my bad habit with my picking. Because I was 6 years into my playing with a sloppy picking technique, because no one ever told me about alternate picking, because everybody's like, dude, you got to have your guitar down, like, real low and play like Jimmy Page, and then you'll get all the girls. But see, because I started at a younger age, I didn't start at a fool's age thinking only one thing. I wanted to be a good musician. And that's when I started to realize, when I met my friend, we'd learn these techniques from a drummer. If you think about it, a drummer will not do a drum roll, although they can when they practice with one hand, but they're going to alternate. And just that word alternate. If you pick down, then pick up. You pick down, you pick up. And I would do these exercises with my friends that were tedious, and then when you got the distortion, it's when you cross to the string, So when I was able to make all those breakthroughs, I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. But I never wanted to lose my sense of melody, But, when you're young and you first get your technique developed, it's like go, 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 go constantly, And there does come a point when you start to realize, yeah, I think it's always a shame how they don't give drummers and bass players, yep, how about it? How about it? Electric Gypsy, you got it right on. That is such a strong point. Hey, all right, yeah, Dana Everhart, you take care, brother. You stay safe, man. Rock on. Thanks for tuning in, man. But yeah, Electric Gypsy, you're right. Drummers and bass players, shove them in the corner. That's a big mistake. Because in different styles of music, the drummers and the bass players will shine. And I don't know how many jazz clubs we still have back in Chicago. I know there's was it Joe Siegel's Jazz Showcase. God, I think it used to be on Michigan Avenue. It might have moved. I know the Green Mill, from what I can't remember, is still up on Lawrence and Broadway, I think it is. Because it's right next to the Uptown Theater, which used to be movies. And then the Riviera used to show movies. Because we'd watch in the 70s, we go to a theater, watch the movie. That's what they were. We used to have a whole crap load of them. Yes, we still have the Jazz Showcase. Awesome. And the Green Mill. There was another place we had. There was one called the Piano Man, and it was on Gray Street and Clark. It was right on the corner. And if you know what that area is, Electric Gypsy, I lived on Kenmore and Grace, 3815. Well, I shouldn't say that, but no one lives there that we know of. You know what I mean? Family moved, but right there. That's where I used to live. And so I'd be able to walk to the Piano Man. And I remember there was Herb Walker and Friends. And I'd watch him play, but I had to watch through outside. And I just saw his backside with his PV Triumph tube amp and his jazz guitar. So I could tell by the way he would shape his hands, that he would sound like it was, now when I look back, major and minor seventh chords and stuff like that. So I'd go home and I'd just practice and practice and practice. Everything I did, man, I would just practice. I'd watch and suck it up like a sponge. So I would always try to surround myself with people who could play better than me and knew more. Always. And go home and just practice, man. I would never waste. It was nice with having the electric guitar before I bought the acoustic guitar. Is without amplification, and when the volume is turned down, you can't really hear it, especially at nighttime. So I was able to do all my scales and all that, and really start to build up my chops. And the better I started to get, the more the offers would come from these different bands. And so then there was a time when I really wasn't playing in any bands, but I was still playing. And I get together and we do like recordings and stuff like that. And then when I got into this metal band, it was originally called Arch Enemy, but they had to change the name to Shadow Lord. There was a Chicago band called Ion Vein I was going to join. But before that, 1989, Electric Gypsy Blues. I don't know if you are familiar with a local band, Seventh Heaven, in the Chicagoland area. I don't know if they're still playing. But Nick Cox used to be in a band called Fourth Rising, and I was in that band for a short time with Nick, and we did a couple of gigs. He's a great guitar player and a great guy. The way he sings, man. The last gig we did together was a place called Wild Bull in Schaumburg, Illinois, and it was just him and Rick from Seventh Heaven, and they did an acoustic duo. And I'm listening to Nick Cox sing. I'm like, dude, that's great. And then he started doing a little bit of shredding on the acoustics, and I'm like, yeah, that was awesome. But as time goes on, people move and things change. And when I was in Shadow Lord, we recorded a CD, and we were doing a crap load of gigs, man. And then I left Shadow Lord and formed Legend. And I always had that band Legend. I started it with the original drummer from Fourth Rising in the 90s. And we just couldn't get things off the ground. So I always kept that name, and was able to do a little bit after Shadow Lord. And then I started getting all these offers because I do classical guitar. And the classical guitar and the jazz fusion stuff is what got us to do all the traveling. And my wife Deb would send out the demos and contact these songwriting contests, this contest, that contest, and we'd enter. And I come in the last one with Dean Guitars. A friend of mine told me I came in 5th place, but I never got any confirmation on that. But then there was a guy that wrote a book called the Heavy Metal Book of Lists. So it's a list of all what metalheads liked, and then one of our friends said, Dave, your name's in there with one of their favorite guitar players to listen to. And I'm in there with Marty Friedman and a few of these other people, like, I don't know, 100 guitarists. So she tells Deb about this, and no one contacted me, but I really didn't care. So we contacted the author, and Deb says, hey, are you talking about Dave Byron that lives in Aurora, Illinois now, and that used to be in Shadow Lord? Yeah, that's the same one. Oh, I appreciate it, So I guess I don't know. It was not in any specific order of importance, but it was just a whole list of guitar players that were instrumental guitars. And I was very honored, But we started doing all this traveling and all these gigs. And you know what? It was based off of a style of music that I started playing with my friends, Andy Angel, Louis Pacheco, and Robbie and Yvonne, and we'd have all these jam sessions, and we would get good crowds, and people were really into it. And then some of my other musician friends that wanted me to join their bands, some of them would tell me, nah, Dave, you can't play originals, and no one wants to hear that fusion stuff. You got to do this, you have to do this. And every single one of those persons that told me this, all this negativity, you can't this, you have to do this, you gotta sing, you can't play originals, you have to play what the people want to hear, you have to this. I'm not saying that does not hold true in the bars. There is some truth to it. But the funny thing is, all the traveling that Deb and I have done, including playing in Canada and in Europe, was never based off of any of that advice that those people told me. It was based off of everything they told me I would never be able to do. And it just struck me awfully strange. I always knew I could play. To me, it was a gift from God. So I never wanted to, be bullheaded and big-headed and, use it as leverage to devalue other people, because I'd learned from other people. So, that's the best way to learn. But what I was going to say about people that talk about blues music and blues playing, and and I'm glad that they're doing this because there seems to be another explosion of this, and there needs to be. But they have to really talk about feel, because without the feel, all that stuff's not going to really matter. Now, since I did mention about us playing in Europe, one of the bigger gigs that we did was for NATO in Brussels, Belgium. And how we got that gig, um, Deb's niece, which would be my niece-in-law, married a guy from Belgium. I think they were from Antwerp, and so she moved over there, and she got a job working at NATO. And her position, I think, was to oversee events, and when people would come by, and I mean, she would meet all the top, all the top politicians, and anyone you saw that's on the news, she would meet them, and there'd be like dinners and luncheons, and she would coordinate everything. So she had one of my CDs playing. If I remember correctly, it was in her office. She's playing one of my CDs. I think it's the Malaya CD. And one of the ladies that was putting together this big event happened to walk in, and she says, "Wow, that sounds nice. Who is that?" And my niece said, "Oh, that's my Uncle Dave." "Really? Hey, do you think he'd want to come over and do a show?" "I don't know, I'll ask him." So Denise calls Deb, and Deb says, "Hey, yeah, we'll set it up." And they got everything, all coordinated. And next thing you know, off to Europe we're going. And it was a great experience. Now, so we do have that little bit of an inside connection there, but it's not like this lady came up and said, "Hey, could you get your Uncle Dave to come and play, because we got to do something here." No, she heard my music, and it wasn't covers, and there was no singing. So my point is, when I say the things that I say, it is not meant to hurt people's feelings who do covers and who sing and all that. No. But you do have a group of people that they don't sing, they don't want to sing, like myself. I can't sing, I got a horrible voice. So our outlet is speaking through the guitar. And because of that, it kind of limits us, if you want to say limits us, to certain kind of circles in the music scene, but it opens up other areas. You know what I mean? So, it is meant to encourage people. You have to be you, because you cannot fake you. And honestly, that's what people, especially if they like what you're doing, boom, they're gonna act on it, and it might take a very long time before they do. But if there's something you're passionate about, don't give it up unless you absolutely have to, because of a family crisis or financial crisis, whatever the case might be. But for someone to kind of like say, "No, you can't this," or "You shouldn't that," never let anyone else kind of bully you off of what you want to do, because you see, they're not paying your bills, right? Especially if they're not paying your bills. You're not living rent free with them. Maybe they if you put merchandise together or CDs, and maybe they won't buy it, but that's fine. There'll be other people that will. You can't let these people. You can't really let them bully you, because that's what they want. They want to see less of what you have, because they don't have it. When really, if they would have put the time into it, they have something special to say. You know what I mean? And it's like that with a lot of bands, and the way the music is. It's really like that in any industry, if you think about it. Now, with Alligator Records, we send, I can't remember what CD. It was a blues CD, and of course it's all instrumental. So Bruce, I can't pronounce his last name, but Bruce is the CEO of Alligator Records, and this was back in, I think, 2005, 2006, something like that. We send him the CD, and we'd like to see if he'd be interested, and we'd be honored if he would be interested. And we were trying to get signed to his record label. And he sent a rejection letter, but he was very polite. He didn't say, "Get out of here," or maybe in the background, I don't know. And I don't want to even think that about him, because he said, "Yeah, you're very talented, but it's just not what we're looking for." And I appreciated that because he took the time out to listen to it. He took the time out to type it up and to sign it. And, he took his time out of the day to do that for me, even though it was a rejection letter. And that's why I never have anything bad to say about him. Because maybe if I hooked up with a singer, maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't. But that's fine. He doesn't have to. You know what I mean? So you're going to get rejection. And I'm going to tell you something that's a little bit magic. And trust me, I've had more rejection than acceptance. That's just how that is. But what I found out, it makes you stronger. It makes you more determined, because it gets to the point where, like, well, no matter what I do, I'm always going to lose. But I like what I'm doing. I'm not going to do it out of spite. I like what I'm doing. And I'm telling you, when Deb said to me, you know what? We're going to handle the whole thing ourselves. We're going to fund our projects ourselves. And then, of course, this is when we started doing all the traveling. Everything was self-funded. And what helped us was the negotiating. Now, this is a part with music that sometimes people don't talk about. You're not devaluing yourself, but at the same time, you're working with other people so that you can make some money. And when people see that you understand their position when they need to hire a musician for a certain event, and a lot of it was corporate events, and there's something magical with these, especially if you're an instrumentalist. They want somebody that don't sing. That's one thing. A lot of them, a lot of the gigs we did that were for hire gigs was, number one, we don't want anyone to sing because it's hard when people are talking to each other. So sometimes your background music. But what happened with me is that we were not only background music, we started selling CDs like almost instantly. And we started getting all these referrals. And when I played, you get these people that they would stop and they'd watch, because they were intrigued. They liked I was able to combine the flamenco style and then a little bit of the blues fusion bass with some rock, or take a metal song and rearrange it and that. And they understood that I was not, loud. I was not a loud person. I would do what I would do for that song, and I would bring the energy there when it called for it. But I knew how to hold back, and I started to learn how to read the audience. I think reading an audience, I really learned way back in grade school, because you're watching everybody, and the first thing you know is everyone's having a good time. You're having a good time. And then throughout the years with the metal bands, it was all about a show. So they're into it, you're into it. It's you giving that energy, and they give you a feedback, and now it's like back and forth. You're giving each other energy. When you do these other gigs where no one gives a damn, and it's now alternative music, because that's what started to happen in the late '90s and early 2000s in the local scene around the Chicagoland area. Then you start to learn, okay, well, they're not that into it, but we're still going to rock out and have a good time. You know what I mean? So that's why I would get people would say to me, man, there's hardly anybody here, but when you play like it's a Coliseum, it's a packed house. And I said, well, I love to play. I started looking at it that at least I'm having fun, and I'm doing what I like to do. And whether this advice is really to anyone out there. Never be ashamed if you cannot be a full-time musician, because it's rough. I'm going to tell you guys, it's rough. It's a fluctuating income. And yeah, there was a few years we saw an incline on our annual income with music. We saw it, and we experienced it, felt it. But that's when Deb was like, okay, we're not going to spend money if we don't have to. That's why, I could have easily gone out and bought the Helix when it first came out, or this or that, the Levenbach when it first came out. I could have easily come out and buy that stuff. But what happened was we were just real cautious with the money, because it's a fluctuating income. And when I say to people, don't be ashamed by getting a day job. Don't let anyone make you feel insignificant. Because I'm gonna tell you, if you could have solid income, multiple streams of income, solid income that takes care of your living, your cost of living in that, all this extra money, you can either buy gear, or if you have the gear that you're satisfied, now here comes another phase of renting out and selling tickets, which is another thing we did just before we left Illinois. And that's why Deb and I started to go back to this, down here just before this virus hit, of course. And now we're more focused on a very specific show. And yeah, we'll have to have other streams of income, but you know what? When we do our show, it's our money and we're funding it, and we have insurance. Matter of fact, I think Deb just contacted the insurance, broker to pay the fee, because a lot of them, they're waiving the insurance companies for musicians. They've been waiving the fee a little bit because there's no gigs. You pay what you're supposed to pay, but now you can't use it because there's no gigs, right? So, we basically watch what we spend, and even when we're doing our road shows, we watch what we spend. We're very, very frugal. You have to be, because if anything happens and you're stranded out there, you're screwed. You really are screwed. And I had a friend of mine that I don't know if he got signed to a label or a management company picked him up and they would have him do, I think it was the Warped Tour. I can't remember exactly what year it was. It was like maybe 2000, 2007, 2008, maybe 2009, somewhere in that time frame. And they're driving all over the place in their car, of course. And you think, wow, we're on the Warped Tour. Dude, we're going to rock. Yeah. And they were a good band. And he was a great guitarist. But I think he got a little bit crushed from the reality of the financial reality. You're the newbie on the scene. You're going to be the opening act. There's going to be times you're going to be playing 9, 10 o'clock in the morning on a weekday. And especially if it's on a weekday. Or let's say a Thursday. Or a Friday morning. And the main act is, let's say the event is Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The main act on Friday is, of course, in the evening. And then Saturday more acts, and then Sunday more acts. The Friday evening and the Saturday are the main acts, right? That's when the most people could come out. But Friday morning, yeah, you're going to be playing, but unless people took the day off from work, you're not going to get that much of a crowd. So then now you're going from city to city to city with that same mindset and that same thing. And after you do your 40-minute set, and if you're done by 10:30, you go across the field where there's tables and you try to sell your merchandise, but there's nobody there except the groundkeepers, security, and a few stragglers coming in, and they're saving their money for the main event, and they want to buy T-shirts, and they'll say, okay, maybe we'll come by. We'll come by later, and if you're still here. Of course, you're not there because you're only there X amount of time, because now when the next band's done playing, they got to use that table to sell their merchandise. So it can be very, very cutthroat. In fact, it's finally he had to pull out of the tour. And it's sad, but I mean, you build on that experience. So, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And if you do get it, I'm happy for you. Watch what you spend. Do not live like a rock star. Because I'll tell you what, the food that they cater in at those events, yeah, boy, that belly is aching, man. You're growling and you're making all kind of noises and you're hungry. But that's not for you. That's catered in. That's for the opening act, to the main act, and a few of the other bands that are signed. There's the concession stand over there. And now you got to buy your own hot dog for like $6. Plain. You know what I mean? It is different. Now, I was fortunate when we do these events, and there were times they'd cater in food, and yeah, they would feed me. I'd get these steak dinners, and I don't eat fish, and there's a lobster dinner, and Deb, you want that? I'll just take fries. I don't. And then they'd give me these big meals and have me play, take a break. Come on, eat. And then I could go out and play for another hour or two. Now I'm like, got the food coma thing going on, So that's why I would do these gigs and I'd play. If it was a 4 hour gig, I'd try to play through, straight through. And I would make sure I had enough material and enough of improvising and reading the crowd to get through the whole event. You know, it's a different. It's different. And you know what, guys? It doesn't make me better than anybody. But what it does, it builds all that up. Yeah, but I'm missing. Yeah, yeah. See, I hung with Louis. There's from Rollover. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's good. You know what? I'm Electric Gypsy. I'm glad you said you did remember them. Yeah. What was Chicago music scene before it became Chicago music? Oh, okay. Chicago Music Exchange. I think now I might be a little bit back on the chat here. I'm sorry about that, guys. Joe Bunch Project, what's happening, brother? You rock, man. Love the video, man. Um, you know, I have to look up where Chicago Music Exchange actually is. If it's off of Halsted or if it's Lincoln Avenue, but Chicago Music Company. I don't think it had anything to do. I don't ever remember hearing about Chicago Music Exchange. Chicago Music Company used to be further down on Lincoln Avenue, kind of like by the, I guess Clybourne. That's when you move, you start losing because now you got to get acclimated in your new state that you live in, so you kind of forget about the old state a little bit. But I know when I was going to Chicago Music Company, it was on Lincoln Avenue, just around the corner from Addison Avenue. There used to be a Dunkin' Donuts right on the corner. And then from there, by just like a half a block north of Gray Street or Byron Street, because there's a Byron Street up there, was Wooden Music. And they did more repairs than Chicago Music. But Chicago Music was just a small retail store. And they would have a lot of Gibson Les Pauls and Hondo guitars was popular. Ibanez, see, this is back in the late 70s and the early 80s, so they were just coming into their own. And of course, they had Fender, a lot of PVs, Barkus Berry amplifiers. Is a bit strange. You get some of these people that are older than some of the older people will remember. They might remember Barkus Berry amplifiers and that. But some of these people that are supposed to be these gear experts, and I dropped these names, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, if you're an expert, you should be able to know this, unless companies folded and they never wanted their information out public. There's a possibility there. There's a possibility there. But I would talk with some of these people like on YouTube, and I would just mention certain things. When you're new to YouTube, you find out that these people, you want to be friends with them because they're talking about stuff that you remember, like, oh, cool, this guy used to have that, man. And you type in, and that's how I typed in with the guy talking about the Ibanez Tube Screamer. And when he asked me about if I still have it, I told him no. But some of these people I would type in and no response, no, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? I'm like, huh? I thought you were, first of all, I thought they were cool, and I thought they were knowledgeable in that, and just sharing the stories, and it's like you're ousted or something. So I said, okay, bye. Doesn't bother me. But so yeah, it's again like Electric Gypsy Blues. We had a lot more blues clubs now. Blues Etc. I think is still there. Rosa's. I remember when Rosa's on Armitage Avenue first opened up. I think between Damon and Western. And this was like in the mid 80s. She opened up and was open up for a while, and we had Melvin Taylor and the Slack Band that used to play there. A great guitar player. And then the word was out. I can't confirm this, and I don't want to make false statements. But this is what we would hear around the area. Yeah, she got busted for selling cocaine, and I'm thinking, that doesn't sound like her, A lot of, this is back in the 80s, and people were getting high, and people were doing things just like they do now, just like they did back in the 60s when that whole thing exploded, So, it doesn't mean that she was doing that and she was selling. I mean, just some of the stories that we would hear would be ridiculous. But for a while she closed and then she reopened. And I'm pretty sure it's the same location. Yeah, Joe Winch, I love that guitar that you got too, man. That new EVH, that's badass, man. That finish is incredible. God, yeah, yeah. No, you know what? I'll tell you what, guys. Anytime on here when I'm doing a live, if you want to give shout outs to your new videos and things that you're doing, go ahead, because to me, everyone helps each other out. I don't say, no, this is my channel, you can't just, the hell with that bull crap. This is all about networking. And you see, the reason why is because I remember the times when we had a strong music scene and it was building up and then boom, it crashed down. You know? And like with the metal scene, Chicago also, we had a great metal scene, and we would play at the Thirsty Whale, and with Fourth Rising, used to be a place called Medusa's. We'd play there, and as we're playing, this plaster would be falling down on us. It's crazy. And then the Iron Rail, and then with Shadow Lord, we'd play at Smiley Coogan's. We'd play at Riley's Rock House. It used to be Melo's at Aurora, Illinois, and then we play at Sidetrack. That was south on Archer Avenue, and then another few places that was in Berwyn, Illinois. We'd make all the rounds, and then all these clubs, man, left and right, boom, 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 starting to close down, boom, 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 so we had a scene and then it started to die. So that's why when I see some of the stuff I see on YouTube and everyone like, oh, he doesn't like me anymore, or this, that, well, that's fine, and you just, you separate each other, but we got a really good thing here with YouTube, and I wish I could take some of these people back in time to when I saw things crash, and it's like, you don't want to see this happen on YouTube, because right now, this is the best platform for us musicians, us guitar players, where we don't have to drag gear out in the snow and the cold and the heat and all of a sudden the rain and all that stuff, So why destroy a good thing, Because Google or whoever was owning YouTube, they could, again, with the guitar community, they could say there's something wrong with these people, that shut them down. Why do you want to do that? It doesn't make any sense. But you see, people are people, right? Let's see. Headley Scott, what is happening, my friend? Okay. Yeah, Yellow Ocean's original. What's happening, man? Original songs. What's happening, brother? Yeah, because they are huge bank safes in there. Yep. I'm missing some of the chat, and I apologize about that. Yeah, I was thinking it was a huge jewelry store. Yeah, I don't know. Lincoln and Paulina. Okay, yeah, okay. That's where Chicago Music Exchange is. I actually should call them, and I should, yeah, like rock amps in it. I still have one Honda. You know what? Deb has her Honda acoustic. Honda was a big brand, man. Yellow Ocean original songs. How's it going, guy? How's it going, brothers? Yeah, I'm not. See, I'm catching up with the chat. I feel so bad when I ramble on, man. But yeah, that's how things were back then. So we'd slow records down when we had learned songs, and we'd wear out cassette tapes, stop, rewind, hit back, stop, rewind. Everything was the hard way. And primarily, I played by ear. I used to have a Crate Vintage Club. Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, it was horrible. Yeah. I can't remember if it was the Vintage Club series, but I do remember, I'm pretty sure it was Bo Diddley for a short time was advertising Crate amps. And we met him back in early 2002. We up in Port Richey, Florida. I didn't know he was doing a clinic. I didn't even know. I couldn't even recognize him. He didn't have his hat on or anything. And next thing you know, we're done. He's done with his clinic. I was there checking out the Hughes and Kettner amp that we bought, and I didn't mean to. I was playing while he was giving a discussion, so I was trying to turn my button because I honestly didn't know. And then when I realized, I'm like, "Sir, I'm so sorry," and I still didn't know who it was. And then I look at the sign. I said, "Is you're Bo Diddley, right?" I am. So he was talking with Deb and I in private, and he said, "Man, you got some nice fingers there." He says, "When I was younger, I started to play real similar to that, where I had all that control." He said, "But growing up in the tough neighborhoods, I had a box and it'd break my fingers. So I had to learn how to play guitar with broken fingers." And I said, "Wow." I said, "Well, you're a legend." He goes, "Yeah." He said, "It's nice." He said, "It's nice to know that you have that impact on people." He said, "But you know what? I tell all these young ones, and I'm going to tell you too. Always remember, a musician's steak is a hot dog." And he said to us, he got robbed by a pencil with all the lawyers, see, not knowing what you're signing because you're so starstruck. And the things he was telling us was like, you know what? Because Deb told him how we're doing things, and this was on our startup with our company, our music company, and he said, "That's the way you got to do it. If you could be in control, that's the way to do it." And so that's why we stuck to our guns, because we started hearing the horror stories from these people that were icons, and they name recognition in that. But what helped them was finally them being able to hire lawyers to go after these people that had been stealing from them. You see, this is what I mean. Another thing, when I say about these copyright infringements and this with the fair use, I'm not trying to be a downer on anybody. Everyone does what they want. But if someone wants to take a person to court, and I've seen some of the stuff on YouTube, first of all, if you're going to be willingly saying that you're for profit and this is how you make your living, okay, now everyone knows you're a professional musician, a producer, whatever it is you're doing. Professional teacher, you have a company, it's either LLC or it's incorporated, you're registered, you are for profit. And then when you want to fall on, but the fair use, and the people that own all those rights, they could still, if they want to really press the issue, and if you're making money off of it, see, this is the whole thing, and they want to really hold you accountable and say, okay, you're making money off of my hard work, so I need a cut in this. Otherwise, you know what, we're going to have to go to court, because, if you're going to bellyache about it, then do something. When I would hear people say the only way they could teach is an example of other songs. Okay, that is a really good way to teach, don't get me wrong. But now those people don't want you to do that anymore. And they're going to get pissed off, and if they do, and they want to legally come after you, my question to these people is, do you have enough money to hold out a continuance, the court dates, continue. Because if they're the ones that got the money, they're going to drag you until you are penniless. And they're going to win because, first of all, they got the money. Second of all, you're doing it off of them, off of their hard work without the permission. So when I would hear these people kind of bellyache about it, I'm like, they do have a point. They can come after you. So how you get around it? These are called chords. You know what, man? If I'm going to... I don't play the Alabama song. I don't even want to say the title, okay? But it's got 3 chords. Nice D, a C add 9 plus my 12, my high E I put in there, and my G. So if I want to do it nice and slow, as an example, when I used to teach heavily, I would have people say, "What song is that? What song?" I'm making it up. It's a chord progression. And no one could come after me if I put it up on YouTube because it's a chord progression. If they're going to start copyrighting D, C, and G and that, then no one's going to ever be able to play. No one will be able to put up anything. They'll say, here's the guitar, and those are called strings up, but I got to cover the headstock because copyright infringement. You know, so I don't think you'll ever get to that. But my point is that you gotta be careful, and you gotta understand that if you're doing anything for profit and someone wants to come after you, they legally they can't. You know, so you could teach, but teach with chord progressions. There used to be these method books called "In the Style of This" and "In the Style of That." If you take every song that's ever been written, strip all the lyrics, if there's lyrics, strip the song title, and rearrange the rhythm a little bit, and what do you get stuck with? Chords, a chord progression, rhythm, melodies, you know? I hope that doesn't bore everybody out there, but my point is that you do, that's the only thing that's crazy. When I saw a video demo of a keyboard, and I could tell what the guy is trying to play with the electric guitar sound in the keyboard, but he was altering the whole little bit as example of a distorted guitar on the keyboard. He would, whatever song he was playing, he was altering it. Not because he doesn't know how to play it, because he doesn't want to get hit, you know. But it is a different time we live in. It's a much different time we live in. So, but at the same time, if a person's not making any money off this covers, and you don't have any problems, man, by all means, because I still like to do the covers that I do. It's fun. It is. It's giving homage to the people that inspired us. You know, and I got a lot of inspiration from a lot of different styles of music and a lot of different guitar players and the blues world and the metal world and the rock world and the classical guitar world, and I'm getting some messages on my phone I'll have to answer pretty soon, and of course the jazz fusion world. So I like, to me, what fusion is a blend of all different styles, and if anything, if I could nail one word what I would play, the Blue Voodoo crate. I remember that. Yep. I have a half stack. The 412 cabinet is from the Blue Voodoo series, but it's got the black Torlex with the Celestion 75-watt speakers, and the real cheap, I think it's the G1200 crate head, solid state head with no built-in effects, but it's loud as hell, you know. But my point I'm trying to get to without going on a tangent is that you know, music is fun to play, and you have to feel it. You really have to feel it. I seen, and I'm gonna try to wrap this up, and real briefly I'll talk about these modes because I am gonna be working on a guitar method program that it's coming from a performer's point of view, and it's a fast way to get that neck in your head and to be able to get you to play melodies where you're not going to be tripping over this terminology, that terminology, what the hell are these people talking about, and then that gets stuck in your head. Now in 2 weeks or that Friday you're going to go out and do a show, and now your head's all clouded with all this terminology, and it's not good as a performer. It really isn't. See, I almost lost my train of thought here. Yeah, advertising pays. Pooh Ninja, what is happening, man? Okay, guys, yeah, I really apologize about this. Yeah, YouTube, Dale, YouTube doesn't like us to share the same notes. It seems like, yeah, it's really something, you know. But you see, this really is a result. Yeah, YouTube is owned by Alphabet, so yeah, yeah. When we were in Texas, and here's the thing with the Texas and the Chicago Blues, the event we played at got canceled, and boy, was people pissed. Because it was called the World United Music Fest, and people were flying in from all over the world, man, spending their money, man, first class on the plane, the Embassy Suite Hotel at $300 a night, you know, or whatever it was, $150 a night, you know, first class all the way. and then the event gets canceled. And I'll tell you what, man, there was a band that flew in from Canada. It cost them $2,000 for everything, round trip with the gear and everything. Wasn't happy. They literally were on stage, getting ready to play. What happened? Hey, what's going on? And there's the sound guy shutting everybody down. 8 stages. It was this huge area, 8 stages. What happened was the sound guy saw a low turnout that Saturday afternoon, toward the end of more like in the 4 or 5 o'clock area, maybe 6 o'clock. Saw low attendance, and the story that I heard, he goes to the main producer, demands $10,000 cash right now because he's got all this gear out here, and you know what? I want to make sure I get my money. This is where the producer made a big mistake, in my opinion. And even, other people said the same thing. This guy folded. He gave in to the sound guy and allowed everything to get shut down. There's a place in Huntley, Texas called Riley's. This place was in San Marcos, and it's like not too far from the Mexican border. So we're at the Embassy Suite, and everyone's saying about there's a jam session. We go to the Embassy Suite Hotel in beautiful, lobby. We thought it was going to be in the lobby of the hotel. We didn't know. I got the guitar. Okay. Everyone's eating and drinking. Okay, we're not going to have the session here. It's going to be down the road. So everyone's admiring the beautiful hotel. The assistant producer comes up to Deb and I says, yeah, this is nice, man. This is a nice place. And, I know I said this story before, but he literally goes like this. It's a nice place. And so the show's canceled. But, yeah, this is beautiful. I went like this. I'm like, huh? What's canceled? I mean, do you open the jam session? He pulls us aside. Everyone's pissed. And I was wondering, why is everybody they're looking like they're pissed? And that's when he told us what happened. They had to cancel. So then we go to Huntley's, or we go to Riley's in Huntley, Texas, and it was a big blues jam session. And there's the main producer at the bar with his head down. I thought he looked like the Headless Horseman. You know when a person's at the bar and their head's down, they look like they have no head? So I said to them, look at this. And I said it jokingly. But I could tell how bad he felt. So everyone's doing a jam session. And they're making up their songs. Yeah, we don't know why we got shut down. I'm pissed off. I spent all my money. I'm not gonna make a dime. I mean, it was like one lyric of a rubbin after another lyric of a rubbin. So now it's my turn to set up and jam. I got my loop pedal and I'm gonna play Texaco Blues, because one thing you do when you're traveling, you always honor that place that you're at. And I know if I'm in a blues bar and I'm going to play some blues rock, I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I'm down in Texas. So I called it Texaco Blues because I'm going to honor the Texas blues, and I'm the Chi-Town guy. You know what I mean? So there's none of this button heads, because there was enough pissed off faces down there. So, I mean, I know this is kind of a long story, but you see, this is one of many things that we've gone through, that you might go through, and this is why we say, don't be a big shot. You know where we stayed at? Everyone's spending their money at the Embassy Suite Hotel. Deb and I, 5 miles down the road, at the Hojo, Howard Johnson, for $150 for 3 nights with a continental breakfast. And it was nice. It was a nice little hotel. And I remember one of the guys we told we were staying at, oh, no, man, you got to stay here, man, you got to stay over here, man. This is where the action is. Yeah, but that's where the money's being spent. And now we find out the show's canceled. And I was scheduled to play on Sunday. So that didn't happen. And there's somewhere on my other channel, I gotta find it. Maybe I should do a cut and paste, and it's a kind of a short video, but I'm literally on the stage where I was supposed to play, and I did not put the guy down. I just said, yeah, it's too bad. Everyone tried, blah, blah, blah. But there's no gear, there's nothing. It's an empty stage. It's just, now the stage hands, they got to come and tear all that down. But what the guy made the mistake is that he should have got everything in writing. Look, the payout is at Sunday. That's the payout. Janice Lala, what's happening? No guarantees, Janice. Absolutely. You've nailed it. And Janice, the video that you put up with those events, the guitar shows and those events, and like in those hotels and in those rooms, check guys, if you go to Janice Lala's channel and check out some of those videos, and when you see those banquet rooms, or in the town that you're in, you see those banquet rooms, ask those people how much it costs to rent those rooms. You might be surprised on an off day. And if you want to do your own music, boom, you got like an extra, few $100, and you want to rent it out and do a ticket sale, you'd be surprised, man. Now you could play the music that you want to play. You don't have to get up on stage and like, oh crap, I hate this song. Nothing worse than you see a band playing. And the RV show too. Absolutely, Janice. Yes. Zach Thong, what's happening? I did that for 11 years. Okay, Headley, you understand. Yep. So they're called events. Whether you're going to have a metal show, a jazz show, a blues show, a yo-yo, wherever it's a yo-yo contest, the yo-yo. Nobody cares at the venue as long as you don't disrespect and tear down, tear up the place. Have a dog pee on the rug or something, or you pee on the rug or something like that. No, my point is when I would hear people, and this is what I used to get, people telling me, no, you can't, they're not going to do that, but that's how we made our money. And that's when we started to do some of these club owners, and they say, no, you got to go through this booking agent, that booking agent, and all they want to do is they want to get their friends in. They got the clickety-click club, they get their friends in. I'm like, you know what? I don't think this guy owns this club. So I go to the bartender or the barmaid. Hey, who's the owner? Oh, his name's Tommy. Tommy, is he here today? No. When will Tommy be in? He gets busy, but you know what? If you call Monday at say 11 o'clock, you might get a chance to talk with him. Okay. 11 o'clock Monday. Tommy, owner. Get home. 11 o'clock on Monday, I'm calling Tommy. I talk with Tommy. Now, depending on how badly the so-called booking agent just wanted to just push me aside and just piss me off, and I'm the nobody that's never going to have any chance. If they really piss me off, only if they really piss me off, because I don't want to see people lose their job. But sometimes they need a kick in their ass too. So I call and I say, Tommy, so and so told me that I can never ever get a chance to play at your place. I'm putting together an all ages show because I also teach at a school. And if you have a Sunday that you have this open, I could guarantee you this. Mom, Dad said they'll come out. Now, I don't want to guarantee, but there's a strong potential. So if it's off season, there's no sporting event, there's not this, no one's going to play bowling or anything like that, then you got this date open. Is there a possibility that maybe we could book something? Yeah, man, we could. I'll tell you what. Okay, I'll have you come in. So we booked the show. Sure enough, someone's friends with the booking agent. Like, how the hell did you get in here? Yeah, but super dude, booking agent, he's not gonna like it. Okay. Does he own the place? Well, no, he's a booking agent, but he's not gonna like it. Sorry. You know what? Who signs the front of the paycheck? Or when we get our check, and sometimes they'll sign the paycheck. It doesn't say super booking dude. It says the owner of the club. He signs the front of the paycheck. Well, then that's the guy I got to respect it. Show him respect, right? He's the person I got to talk to. And again, this is not to piss people off, but I've had to do that. And it's not really fun. But I guess what happens is you get you get you get rejected enough times that you got thick skin, and then it's like, you know what? If I'm gonna spend my money, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna spend it with what I'd like to do. And if this person doesn't want me here, that's fine. I'm not gonna impose. But you know what? That's not the only place in town. I could go over there. And then when I'm across the street over there playing, whether it's booked and packed or not, he could be looking through his blinds. You know, the nosy neighbor, they look up through the blinds and they got the binoculars and they could see all the action that's going on that they could have had over there. And I don't, you know, it's a tough thing to say, but it happens. So sometimes you got to take control. That's basically what it is, taking control. But yeah, that gig in Texas, that's what happened. So we drove in our Dodge Neon with the half stack, and I think I had 3 guitars. The Dodge Neon, the back end was like this all the way back up to Illinois. We lost, but we didn't lose nowhere near the amount of money that some of these people were flying in from France, from Israel, from Ireland, from Canada. I mean, they really took a loss. But at the same time, that event, that Saturday, was a big conference in the music industry and radio conference. And only one guy made this comment. He says, I'm going to tell you right now, and this has been leading up to this point with copyright infringements and everyone's losing money. This was in 2008. This event took place. So it was a while back, 12 years ago. So this guy said, I'm going to tell you right now, the biggest mistake the music industry made is they did not properly embrace the internet. Because if they would have embraced it, we would still have record stores, at least a few of them. And I'm not talking about a record section in Walmart or in Target. We would still have actual record stores. Or you'd have to pay to watch stuff on YouTube, you know, of an artist, of a signed artist. Not download everything for free, you know. All your known artists that are signed, that are well known, not the locals. I'm talking about the known artists. They just got done, figuratively speaking, playing the last note. They got the rough mix, and then at nighttime, someone does a quick mix down to make it sound even better, and it's up on the internet. Well, it's not even, the CD's not pressed. Nothing's pressed, nothing's ready to sell, and it's already up on the internet, and people get it for free. So you see what I mean? This is what has caused this progressive copyright infringement, and these people are coming out to the clubs, and I know I've said this before, and it's really tough. And I know sometimes I repeat myself, and I apologize about that, but it's like this ongoing battle. And I'm not telling people never play covers. Everyone does what they want. But when the bellyache starts aching real bad, and there's decrying on all social media, and it's not fair, and there's the fair use, fair rights or fair use, and you're out there saying that you're for profit, these people's ears go like Mr. Spock ears, and they zoom in on everything you say, and you're making money off them. Where's my cut? So that's how that is. Okay, guys. Now, I didn't mean to go on as long as I did, but I want to show you guys something here. And I could be wrong, but did a little bit of research. After 46 years of playing, sometimes things take a little time, before it hits the old noggin, right? So, with these, and I saw this video before, but I you know what? When you get on YouTube, and you ask all these people, and there's good people out there, so I'm not knocking them, okay? Ask them, what is Phrygian? What is Dorian? Wasn't that the Little Mermaid, Dorian or whatever? What's Lydian or Lydia or mixed? What is this? Sounds very confusing for a lot of people. It confused the hell out of me. You guys, and I'm not going to be embarrassed to say this because now I know I could get on Google, right? It's not like was it the Webster's Dictionary, and then all the Britannica encyclopedia, and you got all the volumes, and you got all the books down, you turn your pages. So I Googled it. It says Dorian and the modes. What language is its origin? And I think it came up, Dorian is in ancient Greece, and so because music tracks back all these centuries. Okay, so all of this fancy talk, I'm thinking about this. Yeah, if Dora plays like, and I hear you. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody or anything like that, but you kind of understand where I'm coming from, you know. So 7 modes. Okay, you're counting from number 1 to number 7. So I'm Googling again. So what exactly is this? Is this the ancient Greek way of counting from number 1 to number 7? And basically, I didn't get so much a straight answer, but from what I've seen so far, that's exactly what it looks like. Okay, so if anyone out there is Spanish and speaks Spanish, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a language on how they count from number 1 to number 7. Okay, I know this sounds crazy for some, but it could confuse the hell out of a lot of people. So, and I always kind of knew this, but wasn't too sure until I had to do a little digging. So if I take a G major scale, I think I took it as a G major scale. Anyways, very simple. If anyone out there has played and has seen this type of a way of playing G major or any major scale, but we'll say G major, you have G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. I play G to its octave, G. Okay, so apparently that's Ionian. That's that guy. That's Uno. That's number 1. Dorian, number 2. Now I know this might sound crazy. It's like, geez, you've been playing all this long and you just figured this one out? Well, okay. A little late, right? A little slow here. So Dorian, she's A to A because I'm using a G major scale. A in the G major scale. I'm studying at the second note, but I'm still in the G major scale. A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. Okay, Phrygian, that guy, he's number 3. He's tres. Tres. Okay, that's in the B in the G major scale. G, A, B. He's the 3rd degree. 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna play B to B. B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. C is C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C. I'm not playing C major. All this is you could say it's your different degrees, your interval. What's an interval? The distance between here and here. That's what it is. Difference. That's all it is. When I put this program together, it's going to be very, very cut and dry, very, very simple, so the average working person could look at it and say, that's all it is. When Deb and I go to the store, I don't say, come on, wife, let's proceed to go out the doorway and proceed to go to our automobile, and we're going to proceed to go to the marketplace. Now, maybe some people do talk like that. I'd say, come on, let's go to the store. And we go out the door, and no matter which way we turn the doorknob, if it's to the left or to the right, it's still the tumbler opens, and we go out and get in our car. And, of course, with our CDL license, we obey every single, rules of the road. It used to be 10 and 9, but if you take training, they're going to tell you 9 and 3. Be very careful. If you go CDL driving or to take a CDL test, at least back up in Illinois, you tell that guy that comes out from the state, he's going to give you that test, you tell him you're going to step on the gas pedal, or I got to put gas in the truck, and it's diesel fuel. Fail. See you next Friday. So, I know that's a little sidetrack I shouldn't have, done, but that's just all it is. But my point is, when I put this lesson plan together, it's going to be very cut and dry, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I don't pretend to be. I look at things from a very simplistic point of view because I don't like confusion. But I guarantee if you apply yourself, and don't try to cram everything in 1 week or anything like that. Take your time. There's no rush. There's no race. I guarantee you take that time, you'll be able to look at that fretboard and you'll know. I don't even need the guitar here. I could envision in my mind all my notes. That's what has saved me when I play with piano players or violin players or everyone that they know everything far more than I do, and they're talking in codes, and I ask them, well, what are your notes? And they look at the ceiling. They look at the ceiling for the notes. And I would realize, okay, to be fair, they had to take these tests, but they forgot their layout of their instrument. When I look at my notes, I know I see them here. I don't look at unless I'm thinking. And I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful, but my point is that if you don't know the layout of your instrument and you got to do a performance, I'm not saying you got to know everything, but at least try to understand that. But even above all that, my friends, when you play and you got no feel and no expression, it is not going to sound like music. And that is the straight up truth. What if I... Well, you know what? As long as you guys in the rehearsal room, if you have a method that you can communicate with each other and you know what you're talking about, when you hit that stage and you play and there's no clinking and clunking, boom, job done. Because those people out there in that audience are going to judge you by what you could do, not what you say you could do. And I tell you what, man, there's a lot more blue collar workers out there, and those people, and what I mean by that is people who don't understand music theory. They just want you to play. Could you imagine you go see Eddie Van Halen play Eruption? He comes out there with no guitar and a book and a pen. I'm going to descend the whammy bar by 12 octaves, and it's going to hit a flatted third, and you're like, dude, where's the song? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but that's not what happens. You go out there and you play. If you have no expression and feeling, it is not going to come across. Former blue collar worker. Hey, Janice Lala, I think I will always be a blue collar worker. Even when we had our heat and air conditioning company, I was out there working with the guys, man. And I'll tell you what, that experience taught me. It's taught me a lot. It kind of changed me. It changed me to look at things from a realistic point of view, because in that sector, you cannot be in fantasy land. You got a lot of responsibility, and boy, I tell you what, man, it just pulls you up real fast, man, because you have to. And sometimes it's good to be in those situations because it snaps you out of fantasy land and puts you on the straight road, and you can see things straight. It doesn't mean you won't make mistakes, but it means you have a solid ground to stand on, and now you can handle things as they come your way. It strengthens you. And that's awesome. All my employment has been in manufacturing. Yep. And I'll tell you what, that's what helps make the world go. You get some of these people, they want to be high on the hog there, and they don't want to do anything. And if you and a lot of people walk out, they ain't going to be able to do anything because they don't know how. So, anyways, my friends, I will make the announcements because I'm still in the process of laying out this lesson plan, and it'll be very, very, very cut and dry, very affordable, because there's going to be nothing fancy with, remember the 3D pictures and the pop-up book, and you open it up and it tells you the story, and it's like ding, 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 all this wonderful stuff that costs money, right? It's nice when it's but the information is very poor. But the book looks cool, man. Look at this. Look at all the artwork and the binding, and everything's nice. Yeah, but I'm paying for information, All my experience, I used to tell my students, I used to tell my fellow guitar teachers, because they would tell me, Dave, you got to use all that leverage, all the things you've done. It's your time. You got to come on. You could step it up. You could charge more money. Okay, that's nice. That wow factor lasts this much. Because if I'm telling somebody that has never heard about the people I've talked about, and they were not even alive when I played over in Europe, what in the hell do they care? But if I don't show them how to play, mom and dad that's working, all these hours, because the sister that I'm up to the boy that I'm teaching, his sister, she's in dance, and the other brothers and sports, and money is going out of mom and dad's pocket. At least I want to give mom and dad and the student value of them learning how to play. They don't need to hear all my stories. Unless they want to, that's fine. But I'm not going to charge them for that, because that doesn't help. How is that going to help somebody be a better guitar player? That says, wow, my guitar teacher, he said he played over in Europe. Isn't that nice? Wow, okay. Now, all right, son, play the song. We didn't talk about that today, because he's telling me about his stories. And I'm going to charge them money for that? Are you kidding me? I guess some people got to do what they got to do, right? Anyways, my friends, I really appreciate everyone tuning in. I gotta answer a phone call here, and I'm doing this off my phone. Okay, my friends, we might see if we do something live. I will post it. I have to find out at the club. Anyways, you guys stay safe. I really appreciate all your support. You guys totally rock, you really do. But the next time, you stay safe, support everybody out there, watch all their channels, my friends. Good people out there. You stay safe, you stay true, rock on, and God bless you, my friends. Take care.